Hi, everyone. Welcome back to The Other Side of Music. Today, our guest is Dave Bracey, creator of the Pittsburgh event Barrel and Flow.
Come on, yourself.
Hi, Dave. How are you? Good. So, you ready for your interview? So tell me about Barrel and Flow.
So Barrel and Flow is a Black Brew Festival. Basically, we are looking to connect the Black community to the $400 billion alcohol industry. That is, that we are 14% of sales, but less than 1% of representation. Basically, if you look at all arts and entertainment in America, um, you have two forms of major funding. You have grants, and then you have alcohol sales. If you've ever gone to an event, I don't care if it's a concert, a baseball game, a comedy show, you see it's either a very short event, right? It's like 2 hours. If they ain't got no liquor, it's about 2 hours. Yeah, I mean, uh, but if not, if it does have alcohol there, then it's a whole thing, right? And it's usually, billions of dollars in an industry and whatnot. So, um, so I saw that as a comedian. I was like coming in and, bringing a lot of people to a venue, but not getting paid a lot of money. And I realized that, I needed to work my way up the supply chain in order to get more of the money that I was owed for the people that I brought into that establishment and whatnot. So that's where kind of Barrel and Flow came about, in the sense of, basically saying, hey, we as Black people are at the end of the supply chain. We use alcohol. We sell it in our bars, maybe, right? Our restaurants. But we don't
Mhm.
make alcohol. We don't grow the hops. We don't transport, the liquids and whatnot. We don't, we're not along the supply chain. So, that's kind of the purpose of the festival. And we do that by, creating these mutually beneficial relationships, with the alcohol industry, and Black artists and entrepreneurs, throughout the country.
Okay. Well, you just answered
Hmm.
several of my other questions. How long have you been running Barrel and Flow?
So we founded Barrel and Flow so it started out as Fresh Fest in 2018. Um, it was a takeoff
Hmm.
of an old hip hop festival from the 80s, called Fresh Fest. It was the second weekend in August. It's always the
Hmm.
second weekend in August, because that's the birth of hip hop. Um, and yeah, we started it in 2018, August 2018, and we ended up having about 1,200 people show up to that event.
Oh, nice, nice. Um, so what goes into planning an event of this size?
um, yeah,
Don't worry, my questions
so
get easier.
quite a bit. So I mean, if you look at um, the cost of the festival is somewhere between 250 and $275,000, which is the operating budgets for a lot of brick and mortars, uh, entertainment venues and things of that nature. So it does take a year-round effort, to bring this together. Myself, I also have one other full-time employee, and then we have a board. We have someone that is in charge of the brews. We have a vendor coordinator. We have an artist coordinator as well, performance arts, DJs. We have stewards of beer that runs logistics. Um, we have, yeah, I mean, so my staff is in the intimate circle, I guess you would say, somewhere around like 8 to 10 people, and then we contract, dozens of contractors, and yeah, I mean it's a pretty big ordeal, but it does take a year-round planning effort, and we are in the thick of it at the moment.
Okay, all right. Um, so what criteria do you and your group look for when, because I know you have an application process. So when you get to those applications, like what's the criteria you're kind of looking for musicians to meet to be considered for
Well,
Barrel and
black
Show?
is first and foremost. And that doesn't mean that the entire act needs to be black. We've had a lot of bands, a lot of duets, that have non-black members in it and whatnot. We just want black representation in that musical act. This is a black festival that seeks to uplift and celebrate black culture. So we are looking for black musicians from all across the spectrum, to participate. This isn't just hip hop and R&B. Black people are, the inventors of just about every form of American music. We invented blues, we invented jazz, we
Right.
invented country. And if you look at every, rock and roll and every other form of American music that follows, they all trace back to blues and country. So we as as Black Americans, we are American music. So we want to represent that on stage, the rock and roll, the metal, the jazz, the fusions, the things of that nature or whatever. So it's a very eclectic range of music that we do showcase on stage. But the requirements are having black folks in your act, and being good. I mean, we have somewhere around. I mean, last year we had 300 applications. That and we have
Mhm.
uh, for the actual festival, we only have 7 slots. We have four
Oh.
bands, um, and we have three uh, duets that we have. Typically a DJ and a rapper, or an acoustic act and whatnot. For the live musicians. Then we
Mhm.
have the DJs, and then for the DJs, we have somewhere around throughout the weekend, somewhere around 12 to 15 slots for that. For and then as an organization throughout the year, we're constantly booking and paying black musicians for various events, but the space for the festival is extremely limited, and we get a lot of applications. So the competition is pretty heavy, and so I mean, you kind of have to kind of have your ducks in a row, in order to get in and be considered and whatnot. And we've been extremely fortunate to have a really good crop of musicians from all across the country. We've had last year we had Las Vegas, New Orleans, New York, and California represented on stage. I believe Canada as well. So we do get acts that submit from across the country and whatnot. And if you've ever attended the festival, I'm not sure how much music you're actually getting in during that festival. There is a lot that's going on throughout the day, but when you do get the music, wherever you get the music, whenever you get the music, it is a high quality act that you're getting.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I didn't realize it was so limited. Ooh, you do have your work cut
Yeah,
out.
so I mean, I will say that
Um,
the selection process, we have a music director, Byron Nash. He's the head of Nashville, local band here. Um, so he goes through, he reviews, he has other folks review. There's a rating system. It's scored, and then I go through, kind of finalize and make sure that like I kind of have veto power if somebody is problematic, if there are issues. We're big on creating a safe environment, so we want to make sure that we're not bringing people who say have allegations or accusations or history of violence, or anything that would disrupt the safety of everyone there and whatnot.
yeah.
But for the most part, I trust the team to make those decisions. And yeah, so I mean, for me, my work isn't as much cut out in this regard. In fact, quite a bit of the festival, I have been fortunate enough to find good people to put in a position to make decisions that I used to make myself. Now people hit.
Oh, I lost you for a second. Okay, you're there. No.
A lot of the things that I used to do, I no longer do. So, people give me a call and they go, "Hey, bro, can I get in? Did you get my application?" I go, you're going to have to talk to our vendor director or our music director, which is nice because I don't have to be the bad guy as much anymore.
Now, you brought up a good what that led into my next question. You say that, we pay Black people. I've noticed on your social media that you're very adamant about we pay.
Hmm.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, why is that? I mean, I know why getting paid is important, but like, why is that like a.
So I mean, coming from black folks, I mean, like, I'm half native and half black. So, half of my family was, genocided and sent across the country on a trail of tears. And the other half was, dragged here unwillingly and forced to do free work, for generations. And even now as an artist, right? I'm a comedian. So, coming in, I noticed a lot of exposure work, right? Exposure pay, where
Yeah.
festivals and, shows and venues will pay you in exposure. Oh, well, you'll get to be in front of people, and then maybe if you're in front of enough people, you'll eventually get paid. Meanwhile, they're selling tickets to this event. The people who are making the stage is being paid. The venue is being paid. The people who make the food, the alcohol are being paid. The people who make the clothing are being paid. The producer is being paid, right? It boggles my
Yep.
mind, as a producer, it boggles my mind that, you come up with a budget for an event
Hmm.
and you make sure that because you can't have an event without I can't have an event without a stage. I can't have an event without lighting. I can't have but for some reason, like, you can have an event with free music, like free comedy, or paid, unpaid labor, volunteer work, right? Like, a lot of these festivals are contingent upon volunteer work. And it just boggles my mind that everybody else you have to pay, but the people who are running it and the reason why people are coming are an option to pay. I just never understood it. It's maddening. And when I started producing shows, I made sure that I didn't want to inflict the same harm that was done to me onto other people. So I made sure that if I produce a show, the first thing that I'm paying for is the acts and the people working there. I mean, if you play, I've seen people play guitars and musical instruments in subways, right? Like, you don't need a large venue and a large stage in order to have good music or have a good show. I've seen people perform comedy routines on corners in New Orleans, right? So again, the idea that you have to pay all these other people except for the acts is absolute bullshit. It's a scam. It's a scam, perpetuated by an industry that is parasitic to the artists that are keeping that industry alive. And there is not a form of art on this planet that does not have a parasitic industry built around it. Whether you're a visual artist, whether you're a dancer, whether you're a comedian, there is an industry built around you that wants to get as much work out of you as possible while telling you that your work is not valued. Um, and it's doubly so when you look at Black Americans, right? So,
Hmm.
it is very important to me that, one, we're paying Black people in America because slavery ended quite some time ago. But also, it's important to me that I teach not only, the artists, but the industry in general that, if you want to have a high quality show, if you want to have the best, we've won the best brew festival in America now 2 years in a row. We've gotten multiple awards. We sell out on a regular basis. There's international travel that comes in for this festival. We're in Forbes and New York Times and things of that nature. We are as good as we are because we pay our people top to bottom. And when you pay people well, and you give them a safe environment to work in and prosper in, you get a better product. Have you ever gone to a restaurant and you walk in and people are smiling and they can't wait to serve you, and it's an awesome experience versus when you walk into a restaurant and the hostess is mad to be there, the server is mad to be there, the chef probably dropped your food on the floor because he's pissed to be there, right? It's a completely different experience, right? So it is very important to me that we pay our people and we show people that if you're not getting paid at an event, whether it's a festival or a comedy show or whatever, you're being scammed. There is no reason why you should not be paying the people, the staff that's working for your event, and the artists that are working for your event, if you're paying everybody else involved with that.
Yes. I that's very refreshing to hear you say that. That seems to be a huge issue around, and I've tried to stress to the artists that I work with that please do not pay to play, and you should be paid. You know, um, it's difficult. I will say it's a very difficult thing here in Pittsburgh.
I mean, I think it's a difficult thing in America in general. I
Ev-
can't speak for, say, international. I haven't performed internationally, but having traveled the country, and speaking to artists in various fields and backgrounds, it is extremely difficult to get paid as an artist. And one of the issues, honestly, I mean, you got to look at the overall industry and the fact that there's this whole there's power in money, and they have the advantage because they have that. The exposure is sexy when you don't have much, when you're just starting out. I did it, and I mean, and not to say, and I still do it to some degree, right? I mean, Kendrick Lamar just did the Super Bowl halftime show. He ain't get paid. That was an exposure situation, right?
right.
So people, I don't know if there's ever a point in your career where exposure isn't, attractive at some point. But for that to be the default is absolutely ridiculous. And, a part of it also is the fact that some artists, a lot of artists, don't feel they're worth their value. I've been screaming to the top of my lungs for years, hey, you need to pay artists, pay artists. And I've been coming at various organizations that don't pay artists. Um, and I've gotten backlash from artists that go, hey, you just don't know how it is. You just don't understand. These people are working really
Yes.
hard and they're trying to do their best. And we're just pitching in and trying to help out and da 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 da. Because it's easier to, lash out and say that I'm wrong than it is to accept the fact that you've been duped for this long. Yeah, I mean, into believing that this is necessary. I mean, because I am paying people very well. Our bands get paid $1,000 to play for 45 minutes. Our duets get paid $500 to perform for 25 minutes. We pay nobody in our staff less than $20 an hour to work this festival, right? So,
Nice.
and we still make a good profit off of this festival. So anyone telling me that you have to do exposure pay in order to have a successful event simply doesn't either doesn't know what they're doing, or is lying to you.
Yeah. Wow. That's it's nice to meet a fellow thinker. um so let's see. Tell me about the conference part of Barrel and Flow, where
so
you have speakers.
so the conference, so a part of, again, the purpose of this festival is to have more meaningful connections with the brewing industry, and also to develop better relationships between business and community, and also to come together as Black folks, right? Black creatives, Black
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, and really have those discussions about what it's like to be in these fields, right? Because it can be quite alienating, being successful and Black in America. The further up the ladder you rise, the fewer of us you see. And it can be quite challenging to maintain and not feel survivor's guilt, or to feel the imposter syndrome, or to feel like everything is going to be gone, or to feel like a sellout, right?
Mm.
So the conference is there. It's a 3-day event. The whole festival is a 3-day event. We have the conference on Friday. We have a bottle share the Friday evening. We have the festival on Saturday. We have an after party Saturday evening, and then we have a brunch on Sunday. The purpose of all of these events are to have a full networking event. We have people that fly in as early as Monday for Barrel and Flow. And we want people to be able to not just come in and have a good time, but to also connect and share ideas and, opportunities and things of that nature with each other. Sometimes, for a lot of people, this is the only time they get to see other people in their field that look like them. So the conference is a great way to share a lot of ideas, a lot of connections and whatnot, have a drink, have a meal, and chop it up. So we have 2 rooms. One of the rooms is the barrel room, and that is focused mostly on brewing industry specific things, how to clean tanks, yields on, malts, nerdy, geeky, like how to build the best brewery, all the beer related, the brew related stuff, which again is extremely important because this is the stuff that's keeping the lights on at the venues. And we want to have a better connection with that. Then the second room is the flow room. And the flow room is more community focused. So we're looking at mental health and wellness. We're looking at, more generally, how to build small businesses, how to work with brick and mortars, how to better to connect with the community, by using your businesses, how to build alliances, so those 2 rooms, are the conference is 9 to 5. We typically have about 14 speakers throughout. We feed everyone there. We have a lunch break there as well. And it's a brew festival. It's a brew conference. So there is alcohol there. I was surprised when I first got into this how much alcohol people actually drink between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Um, but it's a lot. Uh, and by about like, so by about like 3 o'clock is when we switch over from more, you know, more intellectual and more learning situations, and then we kind of get more into camaraderie. So we'll have some podcasts. We might have some like panel discussions about something a bit more lighthearted because at that point, people are a little tipsy. They're excited to see each other. They're getting off planes. Like it's the beginning of the weekend. They want to chop it up. And that's a way for people to just kind of come, it's after lunch, and that's a way for people to just kind of really come together, and enjoy themselves, to kind of like build those bonds that are going to carry them throughout the weekend. So, very excited about the conference.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. Um, so what is your long-term dream for, well, I guess for yourself, for Barrel and Flow, like, do you want to be in multiple locations? Do you want to be well, you are international, but like have a location internationally? Like, wh-
So,
where would you like to?
so yeah, so I mean, the immediate goals for the festival are to expand beyond Pittsburgh. Currently we are looking at we're going to Barcelona this April. We will have 5 black-owned breweries from around the country. We're looking at what Connecticut, DC, Youngstown, New Orleans, and Atlanta, I believe. Philly are the 5 cities that are going to be represented of black-owned breweries out in Barcelona as part of the Barcelona Brew Festival. It's the oldest beer festival in Spain, and we will have a section there featuring Black American brews called Barcelona and Flow. Because the purpose is to Not only, as you, if you travel the world, you see that black people, black culture is loved everywhere. Like, I mean, every corner of the planet, they love them some hip hop, some jazz, some blues, like R&Bs. Like, I mean, they love black people. So we want to also export not only just the culture, and the music and the trends and whatnot. We also want to export the products that bring us in hard cash, like the alcohol, and also teach folks how we've been able to build this festival that is such a rainbow coalition, and a powerhouse that we've been able to build here in Pittsburgh and whatnot. So we'll be in Barcelona in April. We'll be in New Orleans in April of 2026. Barrels on the Bayou. So, and we'll continue to expand beyond Pittsburgh as opportunities arise. Um, but as far as, like the the festival for me is not like it's a business endeavor. It helps me keep the lights on and whatnot. But I spent 10 years in social services. I'm an activist, and for me, this is a means to an end. This is a movement. I'm not just trying to make a couple of dollars and have a good time. I'm trying to change industries. I'm trying to change, you know, the way that we do business. So, the model of barrel and flow, I hope in the future lives far beyond me. I hope barrel and flow is a model that people pick up and adopt and someday becomes the norm. One in which, again, you are paying everyone top to bottom. One in which you are finding ways to connect Black people to these industries. That's the reason why the festival is so attractive to these other cities outside of, Pittsburgh, outside of the country, is because we're able to, through these collaborations, right? So we take a Black artist, say a musician, and then we pair them with a brewery or a distillery or some sort of fermenter, and they go in
Hmm.
and they create a new brew based on what the person likes, right? So a lot of people will come in and go, I don't like beer. Well, do you like sangria? So we had a beer that tasted like sangria. We had a Black Jamaican woman, Samantha Black, came in a few years ago, early in the fest, and she was like, I don't really drink beer. And they were like, all right, cool, let's make a sangria. So they made a beer that tasted like sangria, and it was a hit. We've had beer that tastes like cornbread. We've had beer that tastes like barbecue sauce. We've had
Or
you,
yes.
we've had chocolate. We've had coffee. We've had all types of beverages. And then again, if beer isn't your thing, we have cocktails. We have wines. We have kombuchas and seltzers. We have non-alcoholic beverages, right? There are a number of things that you can do within this industry. And so they go in, they create a beverage, and then they pay, the brewer, distiller, whoever, the fermenter, they will pay a Black artist to create a label for the beverage. And it is a paid and accredited Black artist because, again, people love our culture. People love, like, but they don't want to pay us and they don't want to give us credit for that. So with this, not only are we able to uplift, say, a small business or a musician through the collaboration, but we are also able to uplift an artist and provide them with a new revenue stream, like the brewing industry. There's a lot of visual artists, your PBJ Customs, your Dujours, your Kamara Towns and whatnot, who have found new revenue streams through the brewing industry as a result of this festival. And then they present that project, that brew, to 4,000 people at the festival, right? So now when you're walking through that festival and you come up to a booth, you're looking at two people who probably didn't know each other before this. They have a great project, and when you're drinking that beer or that kombucha or that seltzer or whatever, you're also getting to hear the story of collaboration, and you're getting to know at least two Black entities: the artist that designed the label and the business or the artist or politician that is there as the collaborator. And that has done a lot to uplift a lot of Black folks in this region and around the country. By utilizing the platform of beer and the brewing industry to uplift these folks, right? So like we had um, a locks company, a salon, a hair salon.
Hmm.
They did a collaboration, right? So their logo, their location, beautiful art is on, say 500 cans that go out, and now people are drinking that. They're looking down and they go, "Who's this? Who's this salon? And who did this? Who did this label? That's gorgeous, right?" And that is why fest has been so successful. It's not because we're just paying people or that we're just having a good time. We're also teaching people how they can find new opportunities within a $400 billion industry that they are already 14% of sales. You know what I mean, right? So we're not looking to create new drinkers. We're looking to bring more money that we spend back into our community. So I'm hoping that long after Barrel and Flow is no longer a thing and I'm no longer a thing, I'm hoping that the industry has a model in which they can implement that better serves the artists, the Black community, and society in general by connecting them to opportunities and paying them properly for their work.
Cool. Wow. That's fantastic. Um, so here is a hard question for you. Do you keep your bread in a bread box, on the counter, or in the microwave?
Ooh, that's that's
Or
tough.
somewhere else?
So currently it's in a bowl. Um,
In a bowl.
it's in a bowl on the counter. You know what I mean? Like, So it's not in a box and it's not exactly on the counter. Somewhere between a box and a counter, there's like a bread bowl where I got like this huge bowl and like a bunch of like bagels and buns and brioche all in there for my liking. So a little separated, little bread bowl.
All right, you keep it in a bread bowl. Um, are you a Coke or Pepsi person?
Mm, um, uh,
The
I
hardest question of the whole
I
interview,
think
right?
I think I'm gonna go Coke. I mean, for some reason
Okay.
I just don't see a lot of Pepsi around. Like, I mean, I saw a commercial or some sort of skit about Pepsi the other day and how like, Mexicans love Pepsi or whatever. And I was just like, man, when's the last time I was like at a restaurant or somewhere and they was like, you want some Pepsi? I don't really drink pop in general. But when I do every once in a while, like, I mean, somebody offers me something for some reason, it's always Coca-Cola. So yeah.
All right. Yeah, I like Coke too. Um, so what is your go-to beverage, non-alcoholic beverage?
Arnold Palmer.
Oh, okay.
Two
They are
two
tasty.
parts, two parts unsweetened iced tea, one part lemonade.
They are good. Very
Mm,
refreshing.
yes, they are the best thing to come out of Pittsburgh.
Hmm. Um, trying to think what else I have. No, so how can people find you? Well,
At
wait, let's back
Good.
up before you answer that. So you also mentioned that you're a comedian.
Hmm.
So do you have any upcoming shows?
No. Right now I am 1,000% knee deep in Barrel and Flow. And
I
once
figured, but
once once I lift my head up, usually comedy will come back for me in April. So check me out
okay.
in April, and I'll likely have something.
All right. And where and how can people find you if you want to be found
Uh,
to learn like more about yeah, you know, to learn more about you or connect with you about other things, social media, Yeah, where are you?
So you can at Dave Bracey, DayBracey, and then at Barrel and Flow, um,
Mhm.
and then barrelandflow.com. But yeah,
Okay.
those should be able to get you where you need.
All right. And we've talked about the date a little bit and everything, but give me the actual date, times, location of Barrel and Flow.
So I forgot because we actually added a boat ride this year. So Barrel and Flow is actually a
Oh,
4-day event now. It will start August 7th with Barrel and
mhm.
Float. We will be on the Gateway Clipper Fleet. Uh, it's the first time we're extending the festival beyond Friday. I think it's a great way for whether you're from the city or you're coming into the city to see the city from the river. It is really a beautiful city from that angle and whatnot. So, Barrel and Float was August 7th. That was the first event. The conferencing is that Friday. Saturday is the festival, and then Sunday is the brunch. So August 7th through the 10th is Barrel and Flow.
Okay. And where?
Oh, so it'll be in Pittsburgh, PA. Throughout. So we got the Gateway Clipper Fleet. We'll be at the Marriott City Center in Pittsburgh. We'll be at the Stacks at Three Crossings on Saturday, and then on Sunday we should be down at Emerald City for the brunch.
Okay. That is awesome. Anything else you'd like to add about
Uh,
anything?
I mean, if you're not paying black people, you should be paying black people, and if you are black people, you should be getting paid. Demand your value and your worth.
That should be a T-shirt. You could sell that.
Yeah, well, we're gonna
All
have
right. Well, that is
we do have merch dropping soon, and the hoodies do say we pay black people. So if you want a hoodie, feel free to hop on barrelandflow.com here in the next week or so.
all right. Great. Well, that is all I have for you, and it's been a wonderful interview. I appreciate you taking the time out of your super busy schedule to do this today.
I appreciate you having me.
Um, and that is all I have. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the other side of music, and I will talk to you next week.